What your brand is reputation, it's results. And then that transpires into a gut feeling that people have when they see your logo, or they hear somebody talking about your company, or they find your content online and they start watching it. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand what a brand is, who decides what your brand is, where to share information with the general public so that you can build the brand that you want to build. You're gonna understand how to share authentic and original stories with the public so you can better build the perfect brand for yourself. All right, let's dive in. Let's start with what a brand is. A brand is not what you decide it is. You don't get to brand yourself, but what you do get to do, you get to decide what information you give to people. They get to decide what they feel about the information that you're giving them. A great example of building a brand that you don't want to be building is saying yes to everything. If you have a bunch of opportunities come up, maybe you're in a scarcity mindset, you're afraid of missing out on things, and you say yes to everything, but those things, those opportunities don't align with what you want your business to represent, then that's going to negatively impact your brand. Because remember, anytime somebody sees something of yours, they're going to connect it to the things that you've done. Don't do things that you don't want to do, in the vein of putting content online that has to do with your business. A brand is a story. What story are you telling people about yourself, about your business, about the company that you're building? You need to very specifically and intentionally decide what you want people to see or hear about you. Because remember, everything is going to get absorbed into people's minds, absorbed into people's subconscious minds. And every time they see your logo or they see something pop up that you've done, the average of everything that you've done is also going to flood into their consciousness. So say an opportunity comes up and you can go on a podcast, but you don't like the person who is asking you to be on the podcast, you're then going to be associated with that podcast indefinitely. It's wise to say no and just look for an opportunity that actually suits who you are as a person and what your company culture embodies. So when we're looking at who decides what your brand is, I touched on the fact that it's not your choice. It's the audience that you're slowly building online. If you don't put anything online, you don't have a brand. If you don't put anything out into the public, like even something like lawn signs or signage, sending out physical marketing materials, if you're not putting anything out there, there is no brand. So developing the brand is built on the shoulders of the information that you give to the public. You can tell people how they should feel about you, but that almost defeats the purpose of trying to build an authentic and good brand. The very intention of building a brand is sharing authenticity, authentically being you and putting it out there, attracting people who resonate with the messaging that you're sharing. Ways of negatively impacting your brand can include, something like I had mentioned earlier, where if maybe you go on a podcast or you do something with somebody that you don't resonate with, that's going to negatively impact your brand. But also maybe something like being too salesy. If every single video you put out, every single chunk of photos you put out is very salesy, then you're going to feel like that used car salesman and people are going to attach that notion to you. So you can see how that can be sort of a bad situation that you don't want to find yourself in. You have to get creative and you have to think authentically. In my opinion, the best way to do this, and I may be biased because it's what I do for a living, but the best way to do this is to just partner with some creative person who understands this stuff, who understands the importance of storytelling and honesty and blending art with, marketing science. Now, if that's not in your budget, if you can't afford to bring somebody on to help you with that kind of stuff, there are infinite resources online, including this channel, to learn how to better represent yourself and portray yourself online when you're attempting to build a brand. When it comes to creating content for yourself that you want to share with the public, it really helps to know yourself deeply. So a good place to start, if you're just getting into this whole world of wanting to, share your business's story online, is to just write down what your company culture is, write down what you stand for, what you care about, what you don't care about, what you represent, why your company is so special. Really get a deep understanding of why anybody should care about what you do. Once you've arrived at that, you can start to think about creative ways of telling stories that share why you're so great. You can bring your cell phone to a customer or client and hold it up to them and just ask them to give you a testimonial or a video review. That's really good content to have. You can do day in the life stuff where maybe you have an office or you got like a storefront or something and you look for trends that are happening online and you hop on it and you do your own version of that. I mean, not like a TikTok dance or something, but something industry specific. You can also educate people. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we stand for. I've seen cafes do short reels where it's talking about like a specific drink that they make, maybe like a cocktail, like, you know, here's so-and-so, this is how you make this drink, it's delicious, have a good day. You know, there's no sleazy pitch or anything in it. It's just putting out content. You're making little impressions on people's minds that they can absorb into their own consciousness, and that is going to develop your brand over time. Building a brand, especially online, takes a long time. Certain clients of mine I've worked with for 5 years, and we've gotten their brand now to a point where it is recognizable. People know instantly who they are, what they do, what they're all about, what their company culture is all about, simply by going to their YouTube and watching some videos, or going to their Instagram and taking a scroll, looking at their Facebook, looking at their website, looking at the blogs on their website. What you are doing when you're building a brand is you are expressing what your company culture is. Now, when it comes to where you're telling these stories, where you're sharing, you know, your company's authentic truth, look to the best local apps. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google, and your website. On Instagram, you want to throw up reels. So kind of going over those concepts I talked about, testimonial videos, educational videos, entertaining, interesting, weird videos. Look for inspiration in stuff outside of the work that you do to inform the types of videos you make. Maybe there's a certain television series you like. Draw inspiration for that, for the types of reels you want to make. Maybe there's a movie that you like. Draw inspiration from that. For photography, people love scrolling through carousels on Instagram. So think about process stuff. Maybe there's a process in your business that you can show off with a series of different types of photographs. Take wide photos, take really tight detail photos of that process or that thing that you're documenting. When you have a group event or like some sort of team building exercise or something, document that. Really go all out and just document everything, because that's the best way to get content that is going to feel authentic, because it is. You're just simply documenting. You're not trying to be clever. You're not trying to develop a sales pitch or something. You're just showing people this is who we are. Facebook obviously attaches to Instagram. You know, every time you throw something on Instagram, you can link it to your Facebook account. You can throw posts up at the exact same time. Also on Facebook, if you're a local business, it's wise to share posts that do really well into groups. So local community groups, whatever your community is, look for a group in that area and share posts to it, get involved, comment on other pages, and people will start to see your name more and more and more and more. They'll see your branding, they'll see your logo, which again is not actually what your brand is, but it's a symbol, it's an indicator of who you are, and it opens curiosity. The more people see that stamp, that symbol of yours, and the more they see the types of information that you're putting on these platforms, the more they will recognize who you are and connect you to the ideas that you're sharing. The other obvious place to put information is on your website. So how is your website laid out? What does it feel like when people get to your website? What's the first thing that they see? What is the message in your header? Is there a video on the first page that's sort of talking about who you are? Is there a brand awareness video? How much wording is there? How is it laid out? What kind of different pages are there? And what is the customer or client's experience as they're navigating through that website? These are all things to consider. The last avenue that you can go down in terms of putting information online to grow your brand is YouTube. YouTube is really good for small businesses because it's simply a funnel. You can put up long form videos if you don't have the equipment or the expertise to do that. Again, you can partner with a creative if you don't have the budget to do that. You can use your phone and you can just set your phone up and get a cheap phone tripod, and maybe you can have two people just sitting and having a conversation about your business, and you don't even have to edit it. You can publish it right from your phone, just throw it up. You don't need music, you don't need titles or text or anything flashy. But what you can do within the app itself, within that interface, is, you know, on the first line under the video, you can have sort of a call to action. Check out our website for more information. Then you can have your website right there. You can have other valuable links and bits of information in the description of the video. You can tag the location that you're in for the video, put keywords and tags into the actual video and on your channel as a whole. There's a lot that you can accomplish on YouTube as a small business, because it is the second largest search engine in the world, and that's because it's owned by Google, right? So if anybody's Googling something that's about your bakery or about your cleaning service or whatever company you have, people are searching that stuff. This is also something that's going to help with your SEO. When people spend time watching videos with you, which is the most valuable information exchange system. You're watching this video right now, you're learning from me, you're understanding what my brand is, what I stand for. That's how it works. And then you just repeat that over and over again. And that's pretty much all there is to it. That's what a brand is. A brand is not your choice. You get to choose the information that you give to the public. You get to choose the photos, the videos, the writing that you put online. And then from there, the public is going to decide how they feel about it. This takes a long time. This takes years to develop. So be patient, be consistent, never be a perfectionist, because nobody's perfect. Life's not perfect. And your brand is going to develop over time, and really you need to be as authentic as possible, and you need to put information out there every day that's going to help people understand who you are. I am sitting in my truck and it's getting a little dark out now, so I think I'm going to go home. Thanks again for watching. Please feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment down below if there's anything in this video specifically or outside of this video that you'd like me to delve into a little bit deeper, and I'll see you later.